Did you know that the United States was not always the united entity we know today? It started as a disparate group of colonies, each with their own distinct cultures, values, and aspirations. The story of how these colonies came together to form one nation is one of revolution, rebellion, and the pursuit of freedom. Let's go back to the late 15th century, when the first Europeans, led by Christopher Columbus, set foot on what is now known as the Americas. This marked the beginning of a wave of exploration and colonization that would forever alter the course of history. The English, French, Dutch, and Spanish all established colonies, each eager to exploit the New World's abundant resources. Among these, the 13 English colonies on the eastern seaboard would play a pivotal role. They began to chafe under the yoke of British rule, growing increasingly resentful of the taxes imposed by a government an ocean away. This simmering discontent sparked a series of events that would ignite the flame of rebellion. One such event was the Boston Tea Party in 1773. A group of colonists, disguised as Native Americans, boarded British ships and dumped chests of tea into the Boston harbor. This act of defiance was a direct response to the Tea Act, a law imposed by Britain to control the trade of tea and undercut colonial merchants. The spark of rebellion became an all-out blaze with the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776. Penned by Thomas Jefferson, this historic document declared the colony's independence from Britain. It was a bold and daring move, signaling the colonists' unwavering resolve to fight for their rights and freedom. The rebellion didn't end there. It escalated into a full-blown war, known as the American Revolutionary War. This war was a grueling 8-year struggle, marked by victories, defeats, and countless sacrifices, but at the end of this tumultuous period, the colonies emerged victorious. And thus, through a tumultuous period of war and revolution, the United States was born. It was a nation conceived in rebellion, a testament to the indomitable spirit of its people and their unyielding pursuit of freedom. The birth of a nation was only the beginning of the story. As the new country found its footing, its gaze turned westward. The vast, uncharted territories held a promise of land, opportunity, and a fresh start for many. The early 19th century was a time of rapid expansion, a period known as manifest destiny. Americans believed that they were destined, even divinely ordained, to stretch from coast to coast. This belief led to the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, a real estate deal that doubled the size of the United States overnight. But this expansion wasn't without its consequences. Native American populations, the original inhabitants of these lands, were displaced and their cultures disrupted. Their stories, often overlooked, are a vital part of this expansion narrative. As the nation grew, so too did the tensions within it. The issue of slavery, a cruel and inhumane practice, was a ticking time bomb at the heart of the nation. The northern states, largely industrial, were moving away from slavery. The southern states, on the other hand, with their agrarian economy, clung to it. This disagreement over slavery led to one of the darkest chapters in American history, the Civil War. From 1861 to 1865, brother fought against brother, and the nation was torn asunder. The war was brutal and bloody, and by the time it ended, over 600,000 lives were lost. But from the ashes of this conflict, a new nation emerged. Slavery was abolished, and the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. The Civil War, while devastating, was a turning point. It set the stage for a new era in American history, an era marked by change, growth, and yes, more conflict. In the wake of the Civil War, the United States entered a period of rapid industrial growth and expansion. As the 20th century dawned, the United States was poised to become a major player on the global stage. The first real test of this came with the onset of World War I. The United States initially tried to maintain neutrality, but the sinking of the Lusitania and the Zimmermann telegram, which revealed Germany's plans to ally with Mexico against the United States, finally pushed the nation into war. With fresh troops and resources, the United States helped tip the balance in favor of the Allies, leading to an armistice on November 11, 1918. The Second World War saw the United States take on an even more pivotal role. The bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941 by Japanese forces thrust the United States onto the front lines. Through strategic alliances and sheer force of will, the United States and its allies emerged victorious in 1945. But the end of World War II didn't mean the end of global conflict. The United States found itself locked in a Cold War with the Soviet Union, a chilling standoff that lasted for decades. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, but diplomacy prevailed and a major catastrophe was averted. And then in 1989, the world watched with bated breath as the Berlin Wall, a symbol of Cold War division, was brought down. This event signaled the end of the Cold War and the rise of the United States as the world's sole superpower. From its involvement in 2 world wars to the tense standoffs of the Cold War, and finally to its emergence as a global superpower, the United States has indeed been a major player on the global stage. From a group of rebellious colonies to a global superpower, the United States has had a remarkable journey. In the 21st century, the United States continues to evolve and face new challenges. The echoes of the new millennium were barely audible when the nation faced the devastating 9/11 terrorist attacks. The nation's resilience was tested, but the American spirit was undeterred. A few years later, in 2008, the US was hit by a financial crisis, the worst since the Great Depression. The nation waded through this economic swamp, paving the way for economic reforms and regulations. Then came the year 2020, when the entire world, including the US, was gripped by the COVID-19 pandemic. It was an unprecedented crisis that brought forth the issues of healthcare accessibility and economic disparity to the forefront. Today, the nation continues to grapple with ongoing debates over immigration, climate change, and racial equality. These debates are shaping the course of the United States, molding its future in the process. As we look to the future, the story of the United States continues to unfold. Remember to subscribe for more intriguing historical insights.